Good morning. Welcome to my NaNoWriMo week 2 vlog. Kind of iffy about filming right now. First of all, the lighting is, the sun is right in your face. Although that does give you the cat in the background. She's a little stressed out. Could just be cat stuff, but it could also be me because I'm having a very stressful start to the week. My internet is down and I can't figure out how to fix it. And of course I'm in that nano conundrum of course technically you don't need the internet to write, but certainly you need it to interact with NaNoWriMo, the website, or with BookTube. I'm waiting to see about uploading my video from last week for one thing. I was supposed to go home to my parents and my sisters this weekend for a belated celebration of my niece's birthday, but now my nephew is feeling a little under the weather, so I think we're going to postpone, which maybe is the best thing for me trying to fix this thing, if I can fix this thing. I'm hoping to make it to my writer salon this afternoon. I'm having trouble, getting out of my anxious state of mind. I just, it would be great if this would be fixed before I do anything. I'm stressed. I'm stressed. Also, in my last video, I have some work issues, and I definitely need to go through some of them this weekend as well. An internet connection would really be a wonderful thing. I don't know why, it really just very suddenly stopped working, and I don't know if my attempts to fix it did anything but make it worse. So now Missy and I are just feeling rather anxious that at least she has her bag. Anyway, I'm rambling. One positive thing is I do live in a high-rise condo. There is an internet connection in our common room and in the lobby. Hopefully that's working, so maybe I can go down there or, somewhere public, because there are public places open, even if we're still kind of in COVID. So I think I can still make things work. Hopefully this video will have a more optimistic end than beginning, so long as I can stay on a word count or not too far behind it. The internet thing ended up being an embarrassingly easy fix. Shoot. So I guess I'm on my way to go to the writing salon now.
But real question though, especially down in the chat, let us know, but also for you, LaShawn and Megna, how is NaNoWriMo going for you so far?
It's going good. Honestly, I started on November 1st, but I'm not where I want to be right now. I think I'm going to catch up on the weekend.
How many words you guys?
I think it's less than 2,000. and I was going for 1,600 a day, so yeah.
That's a lot a day.
Yeah. I'm not reaching that goal.
I didn't up there. Yeah, I saw that's what they recommend on the website, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But will I try? Yeah. My problem is I wrote on the first day. I wrote 2 chapters, and then I hated the 2 chapters so much that I spent the other 3 days rewriting the 2 chapters. So according to NaNoWriMo, I've written but the reality is it's 4,000 because I also have not been reaching that 1,600 goal.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. Between trying to do it at night and working all day, it's been a little tough. So, and that's because I stare at the screen all day. So sometimes maybe I might do what you're doing and write it out this time around.
Yeah, that's the only way I can write. I have to write it on paper, otherwise I'm stuck. Well, I'm also writing a short story, so I was never gonna go for 50,000 words.
I'm going for it. I'm going for it.
Just a quick little update here, because actually I have to get moving and get to work a little earlier than my usual. I think after a little finagling over the weekend, I might be back on track with my word count, so woohoo! So let's just hope I can keep with it today. After work, I'll be heading to my writing salon, and I would like to tackle my chapter of my fantasy project, the one I intended to finish over the weekend actually, but I went in another direction instead, so now I have to veer back to that chapter. It would be nice to, cut that off, and continue on to the next chapter. I'm usually still in that mindset of having difficulties getting out words sometimes because, oh gosh, what if the writing is... I'm in the middle of a few talky scenes, really, where I'm trying to get characters to talk about things, to introduce ideas, and to have my main character, challenge herself and challenge us with the themes of the story and all of that. I don't know, maybe I need more action or something. Maybe I'm getting a little too passive here, though, there's room for stories of ideas, right? I'm just feeling overwhelmed with my drafting process, really, but what else is new? Just gonna try to stick to the outline right now and maybe change what I need to later. I finished this book, and I thought it was good. It takes the part of centering the conflict origins on 1 year, 1913, and one city, Jerusalem, which I feel like, it's always not accurate to be that specific when it comes to such a, long-standing conflict with a lot of moving bits. But, that's just how you market a book, maybe. And this one certainly did move the conversation away from the British Mandate, which is where a lot of people view the past from, and it brought it further back to the Ottoman Empire. And even actually technically, though, it says 1913, but she went back to 1898 when Theodore Herzl visited Palestine. This was when he was not entirely sure on his own, even if he wanted to center his Zionist Jewish national aspirations there, but sort of the rest of the Zionist organization was definitely centered there. So, we go back, we also go forward, so there's still stuff in here about World War I and the British Mandate, so, it's not quite what's on the tin, although a lot of it is, and we're specifically following 3 people. We're following one Jewish Zionist and one Jewish non-Zionist, and then one Arab Ottoman citizen of Palestine. And it was interesting, it's depressing in its way. It's such a, emotional conflict for so many of us with regards to, what people so ardently believed, and how entrenched people got in their own opinions and their own communities, and Zionism was certainly a huge part of that. It was very deliberately trying to set itself up as a separate nationalist movement, and that's interesting on its own, to look at it that way. In the Ottoman Empire, in the waning days of imperial control over Palestine, and how nationalist movements were cropping up. We had the Balkan states, getting nationalist to try to, fight off the Ottomans, and then we had the Zionists, and then later Arab nationalism. Nationalism was sort of the, politics du jour to say that empire should be over. And there's just so many interesting relationships here about colonialism, and also colonialism of the Ottoman Empire and of other empires, the idea of Zionist colonization, and also the idea of Arab colonization, which obviously was has been several hundred years since Arabs colonized the Middle East. But even the Arab, member of this book was, talking about, yeah, we get that once upon a time Palestine was a Jewish homeland, but, the people who, conquered you were the Roman Empire, which turned into Byzantium, and that's who, we conquered, Palestine from. So, we have all these layers of history and ideas of, ownership and immigration and nativism. I feel like, you could really look at it and could have like a more sympathetic view for, people and their different, identities within that larger framework. But of course, then and now we're so, entrenched in our own sort of bubbles. It can be quite distressing in its way. So there's a lot obviously to talk about in here. I'm going to be meeting with my synagogue Israel reading group today virtually. So maybe we'll be talking about more, but looking forward to that conversation. Hello. So I kind of wanted to show you my living room from this angle, very far away from the viewfinder, so I'm just hoping I look decent, but I'm excited because the last time I aimed the camera here, I didn't have this last cherry blossom photo up, and I felt like the view looked lopsided, and I'm excited now that maybe it should look less lopsided, both in this picture and in general in my living room. So huzzah for that. There is my completed wall, as it were. Anyway, so I have tomorrow off because in the US it is Veterans Day, so thank you to anyone watching for your service. I'm hoping to use the day to do a couple of errands in Bethesda, which is kind of the swankier part of my county, at least a little swankier, and so I thought I'd take you along for a little bit of that. I also, of course, have to tackle the fact that I'm behind in the word count again, so hopefully we can get some doing with that as well. Another thing that I would like to do, not that you can really see the cover well from here, but this is Save the Cat Writes a Novel, one of the more popular, I believe, writing books published in contemporary times. It's really much more of a Preptober type read, where it goes through the process of this particular type of outline, but I guess in being rebellious, I can read it this month as well, and use it this month for inspiration, I hope. I already have sort of used Save the Cat for my outlining, or sort of a modified version of it. I'm slowly outlining my book, actually. I technically have outlined up to Act 2A using my modified Save the Cat version, and I'm hoping to get to 2B soon. I was hoping to last month, but of course things happen as they happen. So I feel like, one of the things is that maybe reading a prep book like this could be helpful to me, even in November, for trying to keep on track of outlining and writing. Or it could go the other way, I suppose, and completely freak me out. But I do feel like I am at the point, actually, in my writing. I go back and forth with the fantasy project, where I outline for a bit and I feel overwhelmed, and then I go to writing. And now I'm at the point where I've been writing for a bit and I feel like I need to make changes. So it could be a good time to read a book like this, and maybe that will help me out. And we can move forward from here. these are my harried thoughts after really reading this entire book in kind of one fell swoop and trying to think a bit about my fantasy project. Technically speaking, I have already used the 15 beats to try and outline the story, and this outline is so plot-based that it's not really what I need for where I am in the fantasy project. I really need to do research into world building. I'm pretty sure that's really what I need to do. I need a very different set of books. But it was interesting to go through all the steps. I was also impressed by the research that she did into, well, not research, but she had a lot of examples of popular fiction and how those stories fit into her beats. She has 10 different genres of types of stories that you can tell, and examples from each and how they fit her plot beats. And she had the grace and wherewithal to realize that, these beats aren't as, rigid as they could appear in sort of an exercise form. Like, the beats can get fudged up a little bit in each of the stories. So it's kind of nice, I guess, to have that example. But mostly, I guess, I was drawn to the fun and games aspect, which is more or less what I've been toiling through in my Act 2A that I've been doing for a while. That's supposed to be the part of the book that draws the reader in based on, like, the back copy, like thinking in, publishing and marketing terms. And I guess for me that's a little iffy, because a lot of what I've been doing in these middle chapters is more philosophical and like trying to delve into the themes, and I'm just not sure, like, it's certainly not like wizard school or something like that. So I don't know, I'm wondering if I'm doing fun and games correctly or not. I also have a weird thing, I think, where my midpoint is going to introduce a new character who I don't know, is he too important to leave to the midpoint? Maybe, in my back of my head, which is crazy, I'm thinking of my fantasy project as a series, and so that character can become more important in the next two books. Maybe he doesn't have to be incredibly important or important enough to be introduced before the midpoint in the first book. Or at the very least, I am where I am in the story, and I should write it as is now, and could massively change things later and not think about revision that much yet, because if I don't write anything down, there's nothing to revise. There's nothing to work with. So that's what I'm thinking about. And I'm thinking about how nervous I've been with this project and how difficult it's been to get out words. And I'm happy to be a rebel. Seriously, I am. I don't think I could just tackle this project alone, and I have plenty of other, blogging or reviewing or whatever projects that I want to get through in November. But I don't want it to be too much of a crutch that I don't do a whole lot of writing on my actual fiction project. So that's more or less where I am now. And maybe that's where I can, take things through the weekend, think about prioritizing the fantasy project and getting out the words, no matter what they are or how, rough they are. I mean, this is the backbone of Nano that we talk about all the time, is that, it's about getting the words out. It's not about editing and making them pristine. It's about, having anything to work with. And so I have to stop hindering myself by the fact that it isn't, 100%, comprehensible, or even like 50% comprehensible maybe, but that it's something, that it's, the bones of a story, of a narrative, of plotting and hopefully characterization and that sort of stuff. It has to be something, and from there we can whittle down. So that's where I am right now.